Welcome to The Leftovers. I'm Rachel Bell. The Leftovers is audio left on the cutting room floor from last week's Your Last Meal interview. And today, you'll hear never-before-heard cuts from Ken Burns, the award-winning documentary filmmaker who has been airing his films on PBS for more than 40 years. Ken's films usually focus on U.S. history. The American Buffalo, the Civil War, Jackie Robinson, the national parks, country music. But his latest is Leonardo da Vinci, a two-part series set to air on PBS on November 18th and 19th. Last week on Your Last Meal, we learned that Ken co-owns a restaurant in the tiny New Hampshire town that he's lived in for 45 years. It's called The Restaurant at Burdick's. You have a dish named after you, the Ken salad.
The Ken salad, yeah. Well, so I kept sort of saying, would you try this? And they grilled some salmon, and then I had them switch it to bib lettuce, and there was something missing, and I had them add avocado, and that was heading in the right direction. And we shaved some Parmesan and had a light lemon vinaigrette. It was off the menu for 10 years, and they would just serve it to me and whoever knew how to ask for it. And then they put it on one summer, and it was the best seller.
If you missed last week's full episode with Ken, go back and listen to that first. But if you're all caught up, let's get into The Leftovers with Ken Burns. I'm going to do a little speed round with you. So, number one, what is your perfect birthday cake? Or if you're not a cake person, perfect dessert?
My mother made it. She called it wacky cake because it was all made in one pan and then baked in that pan.
Yeah.
But it's chocolate. It's just chocolate. That's fine. My gals still ask it for their birthday, so I just am very happy to give up my asceticism, my supposed asceticism about desserts to have chocolate cake.
My ex-boyfriend's mom makes that. She calls it crazy cake, and her granddaughter loves it. Yeah.
We've inherited this thing from my mom's handwriting back in the 50s called wacky cake. I don't know where she got it, but every once in a while, my aunts, when they were alive, would make me wacky cake for my birthday, and tears would come down my...
Yeah, I only remember a little. I think it has something to do with it was invented at a time where things were rationed or things were expensive, because I think that it's like cheaper. It's oil, instead of butter.
Oil instead of butter, and you break the egg in the middle of the thing. And I remember watching my mom do it. It's now sort of faded from memory. So now all I want to be now is the taste tester.
According to Wikipedia, wacky cake is also called crazy cake, lazy cake, Joe cake, wowie cake, depression cake, and World War II cake. It doesn't use eggs, milk, or butter, and was a popular dessert to make during the Great Depression, when those ingredients were either hard to come by or too expensive. Instead of the egg, there is vinegar and baking soda. That is what makes it rise and keeps it light and fluffy, and the vinegar also binds with the gluten and helps with the structure of the cake. It only uses one bowl, and it's vegan. According to the Today Show, people started baking wacky cake again during the pandemic. What is a favorite film that centers around food?
Le Grand Bouffe is a wonderful film in which people eat themselves to death and literally explode. It's a French film, and I probably saw it high on marijuana in college, and we just thought it was the greatest thing ever. But anybody ever brings up food, I like that. There's the great chicken eating scene in Tom Jones with Albert Finney and whatever her name is, Mrs. Walters, played by Julie somebody, or maybe it was Julie Waters. Anyway, it's one of those sexy things where chicken juice is dribbling in. The relationship between food and sex and love.
You brought up ones that I've never heard of, so now I'm excited to get to watch. I've never heard of Le Grand Bouffe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Check it out. It's pretty great. It's human beings, they're addictive personalities, and when they start, they can't stop.
Yep, we're heathens. We love it.
Yes, exactly.
What is your favorite movie theater snack?
Peanut M&Ms.
And you work with your daughter now, which is so lovely. Tell me a little bit about what that's like.
Well, first of all, my primogenita, my oldest daughter, Sarah, has been around film since she was in diapers. And we've been working together with her husband for 15 years on the Central Park Five, on Jackie Robinson, on Muhammad Ali, and now Leonardo. And we've got several projects that take us to 2030 together. It's fabulous. We don't fight. Nobody else.
Right.
We all agree. It's just, she's a spectacular human being. The greatest day of my life was the birth of my first child. Not that my other three daughters aren't as important. They are. But on 10/23/82, everything changed for me. Everything changed. Everything. And the fact that I get to work with her, And she's got 2 kids of her own. And the oldest is named after my mother, died when I was 11. The Great Gifts.
That's beautiful. And what is their daughter's name and your mother's?
Lila, Lyla, which was a 19th century spelling. My mother's mother was named that. But, Lila, my granddaughter, the word Lila was sort of draped in black crepe for decades and decades. And now, we just relish in the name, and she's fabulous. And she, of course, doesn't know her great-grandmother either. And yet there she lives on, and there's a joy and a continuity. And that's what human beings are about, creating experiences with food or with art or with conversation or with literature or whatever it might be that continue the story.
You got to teach her how to make wacky cake so that she's cooking her namesake.
My oldest, Sarah, does make it. And so that's good. And my son-in-law, David, and I are very happy to have whatever she makes. And she's a fabulous, fabulous cook. And in fact, her year in Florence, when I went there to check up on them, as all, co-directors have to do.
Oh, yes.
Every restaurant we went in, Sarah, and they would move her to this. And we didn't have a bad meal. Of course, I think it's hard to have a bad meal in Italy, but we never had a bad meal. And every place just welcomed her as if she was the prodigal daughter that had just come back, even though he'd eaten her a few days before.
Wow. So she just kind of became a local, a regular.
She's got that. She's got that, yeah.
That's sweet. And last question of the set, what is your favorite holiday dish?
I think a good turkey dinner is the best thing of all. My favorite holiday is the 4th of July, of course. My second holiday is Thanksgiving. Christmas is a distant third only because of all of the buying that comes around Christmas.
Yes.
And my most hated is Halloween for exactly the same reason. It just got corrupted by adults, and it's now like the second biggest holiday. Anyway, just the idea of coming together, working with a group of people that you're related to, and putting together a turkey and stuffing and different kinds of stuffing because they don't eat this and this person eats that and that person doesn't like sweet potatoes, so we also have the regular mashed potatoes and green beans and salad, and because not everybody likes pumpkin pie, there's got to be an apple pie and maybe a peach pie too, and so and then it takes hours and hours, and suddenly it's gone in like
2 minutes. I know.
What could be better than that?
Just what you said about the consumerism reminded me. I was just in Iceland, and I got into a conversation with a guy working at a chocolate shop, and he started telling me about what their Christmas was like. And they do 12 days, and it's like 12 kind of Santa figures. And every day they come and they put one gift into a child's shoe. And I was asking him about the shoe, and he's like, oh, no, it's just like the shoes that the kids wear. It's just because
yes.
And then I was thinking, in America, we would have a special expensive shoe, and the parents every year would buy a new shoe, and it would be this shoe, and it'd be like this themed shoe. And I was like,
it'd be the size of a washing machine or a refrigerator. So
a Gucci shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, no, just a stinky little kid shoe. I was like, I love that.
Things fairly divide between the transactional and the transformational. And I think what we want, particularly with food, is that ability for it to be that thing that it's greater than the sum of the parts, that all the ingredients together, how they've been prepared, is something else entirely. And it brings the possibility for people to get together and maybe something changes. The great 19th century Epicurean, French Epicurean, Briand Savarin, when asked what the most important ingredients for a successful meal was, he said, the company. I agree.
And that was Ken Burns' Leftovers. Check out his new 2-part series, Leonardo da Vinci. It's on November 18th and 19th on PBS and will run for a month after that. The Leftovers and Your Last Meal are both products of Seattle's Cascade PBS. This episode was mixed and mastered by Isaac Kaplan-Woolner. The show was created, hosted, and co-produced by me. Original theme music by Prom Queen. You've probably heard me mention that my new book, Open Sesame, comes out on November 12th. I have a bunch of events planned in the Pacific Northwest. To find out more, go to hellorachelbell.com. And I'm hosting a super fun event called Food Fight in Seattle. It's like a game show and a trivia show all mushed into one with prizes and bites and visits from mystery chefs. We only have a handful of tickets left. Grab yours today. You can find a link in the show notes. I'm Rachel Bell, and this is The Leftovers.